Travis Wayne Goodsell. With the Democratic convention this week, I get free nights. I don't know what to do with my time. I have no interest in watching the Democratic convention. Like I said, I am not a party man. Constitution demands that we not have party government. The Supreme Court is, or the Supreme Court, the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. And so everything is supposed to be in the Constitution and is supposed to be followed. But I did find it interesting that the news that I saw today talked about RICO. For somebody's thinking that Trump and the Postmaster General that took over and has hindered our mail involves a RICO charge. And I thought that was interesting, as my case against the LDS Church was a RICO case. But, yeah. The lawyer never got back with me today in response for the landlord. The other person that I contacted over the weekend, I got no response today, and I don't actually expect a response until they render their final decision, which could be months from now. That's why I wasn't counting on them to step in and save me. So I'm going to have to do some other stuff to stop this abuse against me. But interestingly, though, Rachel's show on Friday, today's Monday, isn't it? Was about how standing up to your abusers in many cases tends to stop the abuse. In my case, when I stand up against my abusers and contact authorities above them, they just lay in wait, let time go by, and then strike again, which is a crime in and of itself, to lie in wait to attack. Yeah, it's clear that they had no interest in filing legally against me. They were just threatening me to get out. And so I'm going to have to pursue higher authorities on this as well, because they are not abiding by the law. And so with Judge Waddups denying the church lawsuit, that then puts me back into the protections that I had federally, and that's big trouble for the landlord. So why do people commit crime? I don't understand, especially when you're in a position of trust. You know, I don't understand Herbert. He's so far following a pattern now in coronavirus testing, and it's disturbing. So last Monday's testing for the first of the week for Sunday, because that's how I do the week percentage, is Sunday to Saturday. And so Monday is the first day of the week because it's Sunday's reporting. And so Sunday becomes Saturday's reporting. And so, that's how they do it. So that's how I do it. And I go by percentages because Herbert's now confessed last Thursday that what he was doing in the beginning was making sure that he kept it under 200 so that he can open up businesses on the anniversary of the Illuminati, May 1st. And then now he's wanting to open up schools, so, and have the LDS temple go to phase 2 and phase 3 if possible by keeping it under 400, which is more than 200 when we were shut down. So yeah, today was the first day of school. I hope I don't hear of any reports first thing tomorrow morning when I check the news from ABC 4 News Utah. But I'm fearing the worst. I got through watching an episode of Rizzoli and Isles as I had dinner with it. And this episode was about doomsday preparers. They had a term for them, marauders or something like that. There was murder among the marauders. And then they started talking about what would you do if Armageddon, what would be important to you? And of course, that's what we're in. We're in Armageddon. And I was thinking, wouldn't these people who have bunkers be in their bunkers right now, because this is a pandemic, for what you would use the bunker for, to hide out until the virus has passed on and everybody's dead. But yet the news has been reporting since the protests began that these militant, I think that's the word I'm looking for, militant, doomsday, apocalyptic, end-of-the-worlders who would have these bunkers are actually out on the streets beating up on the protesters in conjunction with the police and the secret police of Trump. And so I don't understand. Why did they get the bunkers if they're not going to use them? I don't know specifically. Maybe these guys that are out on the streets didn't have the money for a bunker, or didn't know anybody with a bunker and weren't on their good side or something. I don't know. But I remember in the beginning there was even some news reports of guys selling underground bunkers for like millions of dollars, and so only the rich elite were able to go in them, if they went in them at all. One guy even had like an apartment or a city or something like that in there with all sorts of fun stuff for the rich. But Mormons here in Utah, they know about it. There was one prophet of the LDS church who was quoted as saying that he would go to his ranch if there were to be a nuclear explosion occurring. I don't know who that was, so I can't give you the reference, but I remember reading it. And others have commented about that too, which is why I can remember it now. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very concerned about Trump's escalation. MSNBC recognizes it, or Nicole Wallace recognized it, as I was listening to her earlier today, that because Trump was impeached, he now does whatever he wants, and he's more brazen about it. The incident where he wanted to put the military on our streets, the general in his cabinet or whatever was saying, no, I'm not doing that. You can't do that. And so he backed down, and then he did the secret police thing in Portland to start with. And then I understand over the weekend there was some violence in 3 cities. But yeah, escalation of violence is going on. Utah has been suppressed, it sounds like. They only do token protests now, if they do them any at all. The news isn't covering them. They're not giving them any credibility now. And so the government, that's how the government suppresses protesters here in Utah. The news just won't cover you. As the news first was siding with the police. You guys need to go home. Oh my God. You're the news. You're not supposed to give orders. You're not supposed to tell your viewers that the protesters are the bad guys. You're the news. You just report the news. That's all you do. You don't throw in your biased opinions to manipulate your viewers. So, yeah, I mean, what would you guys do? Literally. Are you prepared if something were to happen, whether it be a natural disaster? Because here in the Desert Valley, all we get is 100-degree temperatures for the week. Apparently last week was just our reprieve, as it's back. Our Indian summer, a little too early, I guess. It was only 90 degrees. It wasn't down to 80 or 70. I don't know why they call it an Indian summer. That doesn't make any sense to me. I hope it's not a racist thing. But yeah, this year is completely different than previous years. When I first got to Utah, there used to be an August flood where it would rain so hard that it would literally cause floods, flash floods in August. And it was, I noticed every year it was around the same time frame, and then it just stopped one year. No more flash flooding. And now this year we didn't have the bulk of the thunderstorms that would cool things down at the beginning of summer like previous years would have, because what happens is water evaporates during an intense heat and result in the thunderstorms because of the violent mixture up in the sky. And I only remember 1, maybe 2 days of just a brief thunderstorm. And things are getting bad, guys. I mean, I remember going up to EFY with my parents went up into Logan and up into Idaho to visit family while they dropped me or my brother and then eventually my sister. I was able to go 3 years to EFY, and then they would go visit relatives. But I remember the first year I was there, and they hold them in August, or they did. I don't know if they do them anymore. Well, coronavirus, obviously they don't do them. But the first year we had snow while I was there. And then there was one year where Keith Fenstermacher took me up for Christmas with his grandparents maybe. And so that was cool. I got to bail on my own family's Christmas. If you're gonna just give underwear and socks to your kids for Christmas, you better expect your kids not to enjoy Christmas. And you better expect to have your kids want to get out of it. My parents just didn't get it. But that's what happens when you're white supremacist Nazi Mormons. Alrighty. I really have no idea what I'm going to do with my time now. I don't want to go to bed too early, because then I'll wake up too early. I'll become a morning person, which would be fine, because that's the coolest time of the day, as it's down to 70 degrees rather than 100. I can take siestas. So, yeah, that Hinckley prophecy never came to pass, did it, Mormons? And I know the backstory of it because of my connections in the church at the time. Hinckley was in a meeting with some church officials, and in that meeting he talked about how he could foresee the current trends where immigrants from south of the border would come to Utah and outnumber whites here in Utah. And of course Mormons did what they do best and misinterpret his words and call it a prophecy, as it was a secret meeting held exclusively for them, not for the general populace of the membership, of which only prophecies are supposed to be given, so that it's not done in secret, so that you don't have people going around making claims that aren't actually claims. Nonetheless, that's the tradition and culture here in Utah. And so the Mormon governors and the legislatures were all on board with this prophecy. And that's why Utah defends DACA. If you're familiar with Trump wanting to kick DACA out, kick immigrants out, and why the church is going against Trump on this one issue. That's why. Just hilarious. So they keep trying and hoping to get prophecies fulfilled for the prophets, just as Herbert's desperately trying to kill us in order to claim that Nelson's prophecy of curing coronavirus would work. So now you know the rest of the story.